All right, as everybody kind of trickles in, we're gonna try to get started here. Just real quick before we say a prayer, I want to thank everybody that's in the room right now for coming back, and for everybody who has stayed with us most of the day or the entire day. We're really grateful. We know it's quite a haul to be here with us for the entire day, but we really appreciate the support, and we hope that everybody here got something out of this. We know a lot of us did. We want to thank the speakers for making the trip, for staying with us. We want to thank the speakers who, they get one talk. And decided to hang out with us for the entire day. I mean, that's really cool. I think the idea was to have like a real familial kind of, we're all in this, walking this thing together. And so we appreciate you guys walking with us today. So with that, I'm just going to say a quick prayer. So if everybody can just get silent and get still. Let's invite God in. And God, we pray that you may set aside everything we think we know about this step, these steps, about prayer, about meditation, and about why we do those things. And God, we pray that you may set aside everything we think we know about our old experiences, our current experiences, and about what a new experience should look like. And God, we pray that you may set aside everything we think we know about ourselves, about each other, and most importantly, about you, God. So that tonight we can have an open mind and a whole new experience with all of these things, especially with you, God. Please allow us to see the truth. Amen. Amen. All right, I've asked a friend to please come up and read, as happy as he is about that.
My name is Terry, and I'm an alcoholic. Step 10 and 11. This thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and to continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commenced this way of living as we cleaned up our past. We have entered the world of the Spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be too shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done." We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. All right, and with that, our speaker tonight on steps 10 and 11 is going to be a dear friend of mine and of all of ours. Really grateful to have him here tonight. And with that, I give you Jack D. from Baltimore, Maryland.
A bunch of y'all made it, which is awesome. Yeah, it's just really cool to be here. My name is Jack, and I'm an alcoholic. And I got alcoholism. And this is, I just before wherever we go until 8. Day-long deals, pockets of enthusiasm, conferences, people that care about AA allowed my mom to not bury her youngest son. And as I've been thanking Teddy and Brad and Mark, thanks God, and and you can say it so many times, but until I found men and women that were in love with what they were doing here, I never fell in love with what I was doing here. And there was places like this and people like you that my parents love, and most of you will never meet them. but they will forever thank you. Even just being here, just so these guys know, like, yeah, of course we got to do this again next year. Because there's a guy right now, somewhere not far from here, who has no idea that he's going to end up coming in contact with some guys that are sitting right here, right now, that are going to be able to offer to him the one thing he's always been looking for that he never knew he needed. So the reality of this from here tonight is just like, thank y'all. Because I'm just looking at a reflection of, it's humbling as an understatement. It's just incredible. I was dead. I am living life today. And I just feel really fortunate. But it's a very, 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 it's got very little to do with me. And there needed to be somewhere for a guy like me to come. Rooms needed to be open. But eventually I needed to find y'all. I needed to find the cult within the cult. You know what I mean? Real crazies. Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget hearing one of my buddies, this guy say that, and I was just like, it's like you come to AA, you think that's a cult, and then you realize, and you keep going, and then you start hanging out with these folks, and that's all they're doing, and you're just like, oh my Lord, how'd I end up with y'all, So, yeah, everybody that said anything up here so far too, man, like, wow. I mean, it's just like, don't listen to me, do what they said. Just do what they said. They did. And I hope that's what I talk about. Because I love that theme here. So much honesty and about experience. This theoretical and you should and we should and we know now and we've read this and we trap after trap after trap. One of the most beautiful things I heard this weekend, we find God in our feet. That's one of my most favorite things about AA, man. You don't have to have the same one as me. You don't even have to like that word. But we're going to find access to a power here through what we do. In 10 and 11, we're going to talk about what looks like, feels like, how to stay alive. How to stay alive, But some of it's just been, if you just got here, great. If you've been here the whole time, great, whatever. But just like, man, there's been some, it's an honor to be here. And it's just, there's guys that talk, this weekend that I was dying in AA. I wanted nothing more than to be sober and happy. Nothing more. And these dudes got on a plane some weekend that they very well may not have wanted to and went somewhere and someone recorded what they said and 8 years later I found it and my life's never been the same. And now I've become friends with them and their wives. I know the names of their dogs. Spend time on their sofa, falling asleep, watching a movie. Like, life is a trip. But because what we come to see here is that we're all at the same table. Especially when we're talking 10, 11. Okay, the first 9 steps is a powerhouse. But now we got to keep living. We're all at the same table now. What am I doing to treat my condition? How am I going to stay awake? And like Kat and so many other people talk about, I'll fall asleep and I'll fall asleep and I'll fall. It's just like, absolutely, me 3, Wonder what I'm asleep to right now. You know what I'm saying? We all know there's something. I just feel really fortunate to be here. And we got friends from far away and close by, and just, it's just like life is totally transformed for me. Just like, and it's interesting. The 12 and 12 talks about like the first 9 steps basically gave us and prepared us for a new life. It's like, but now we have to embark on actually living it. And the rest of it, and this stuff's been real tricky for me. Because I have listened to the thing between my ears and let it run my life for so long. And many days it still does. Where I live, and in my home group, and in my home, there are no spiritual hilltops. And there's nowhere to get. And I think that's one of the most important things about these steps too. Shoulder to shoulder. I don't care if you're writing a nightly review and calling it 10 or writing a 10-ly review and calling it 11. I don't care what you're doing and what you're calling it or what you're naming it. We're not the debating society. I got no room for it anymore. It's such a miracle that we're talking about any of it. That we have any willingness to do any piece of it is incredible for this guy from where I came. Showing up to AA, 2010, trash bag, duffel bag, can somebody please help me? Because I got nothing. And I've been trying, man. So I don't want this one's this one and that one's that one. And we're going out of this book, we're going out of that book. Man, we are all hopefully treating the same condition and trying to access a power that can actually produce results that we finally got clear that we couldn't produce. That's what finally happened in my life. That has brought me right here, right now. During a month when it's just like Cleo and I are just like, man, I wish we had another night or two, just us this month. But man, look at what God's done for us. Let's go. Let's go. And I hope y'all heard 4 and 5. And I'm not just going to stand up here and be a sappy, madly in love with my wife for an hour in front of everybody, but to live with somebody that can stand in front of a room full of people and talk about what you talked about, I don't need to look very far often to see real power in action, to see real freedom, and to be reminded real quickly of what we're doing here. And my heart is full, man, right now. Wow. My heart is full in this room. We know so many of you guys. And this is the testament to what happens when you really get involved and have an experience and start to open your heart up. It's like you look out in a room in a zip code where you don't live, and you're incredibly connected to many of the folks that are there. Some you haven't seen in a long time, some you have. Connected in the fellowship of the Spirit that I don't know anything about before I get here. What are you people, you know what I mean? You get here and you start hearing this stuff and you're just like, what are you the fellowship of the Spirit. It's like, cool, man. That sounds real sick, dude. Let's do that. What are you talking about? Can you please help me? I got people that I owe money to, man. You know what I mean? I don't know the fellowship of the Spirit. Fellowship sounds good. I need some friends. It's like, and again, it's nothing to really talk about. It's something to be in. It's and I'm the guy, man, that I've been repeating stuff I've heard and trying to sound good and look good since I was 3. Literally, man. I was trying to fight kids in kindergarten for taking my girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? I just spoke in front of the Annapolis, the state, whatever, in Maryland with my dad at age 8. What do you, don't do that to a kid like me. Don't tell him that he sounds good. He's going to keep talking forever. You know what I mean? So, I've spent years in Alcoholics Anonymous, carrying a big book, sponsoring people, knowing what to say, repeating what other people said, with an experience that was very little to nil. Help, 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 help. And eventually I just said, help me, please, because this isn't working. This is not working. And so much of that is this. So much of that is coming through that 9th step into man, I don't ever want to go back there. I don't ever want to be that guy again. And I will be. This is the clarity that's key. I will. It's not a maybe. I shall return to the guy that is frequenting establishments where he needs not be as a sober individual. To the guy that's coming behind these things, oh, friendly microphone, and trying to figure out which one of y'all I can talk to later tonight. Using one of the more sacred things in the world as a way to get validation and wherever that word leads you to. Taking me to some interesting spots. We can just use your imaginations. Not that far. Just kidding. So it's because the 10-step forces me. It forces me to look at me. Right? One of my friends says, I'm always in column 1. That's why I hate step 10. I'm always, it's always, it's me. It's never, when it comes to, I'm bringing it to you now, and I can say all this, and I can't believe this, but it's always me. I'm the one. It's like, and you know what? If I'm not at a place, if there's not some power flowing, if I'm not willing to be honest with myself, and my sponsors, where the majority of my 10 steps go, personally, it's my current experience. Again, not here to debate with anyone, talk to them about theirs, love to share mine with you, love to listen, but like, that's just currently the way it is because my sponsor's retired. That's all, y'all, and he's got a cell phone. That's it. Yeah, he's retired and has a phone, so I can talk to him a lot. That's all. I've also found it really important to 10-step with the men that I'm sponsoring too, so that this is a shoulder-to-shoulder deal, not hierarchical. It's very important to me. It doesn't need to be important to anyone else. It's just important to me because I like to think I'm better than people because I'm a dick. Part of my language. But like, I'm not. And it's really also like talking about the fellowship of the Spirit and talking about that being created. It's like, bear your brokenness to the people you're close to, and you will get closer to them. That's been my experience. I was like, oh, hey, man, let me tell you about this fist step hour, bro. It's like, that's great. Super fun. Me and Cleo had this wonderful experience. It's great. Hey, man. I'm at this thing, and I know everyone there, but I'm still really scared about what I'm going to say or what they're going to think. And it's like, oh, Jack, I love you, man. Thanks for calling. It's a beautiful, it's wonderful to kind of to try to take a step back and just look at how all these steps flow through and roll with each other. To watch how this stuff just is like this concrete that's just whipping us into just like this kind of cemented place where we can really actually stay here and grow closer to something that can continue to take our lives in directions that I don't know for you, but for me, I never would have even thought about. Never would have thought about. Beyond my wildest dream, I wouldn't have even dreamt, I couldn't have dreamt about an interior condition that was silent ever. I couldn't have dreamt about a relationship based in integrity because I never wanted one. I don't know how you dream about things that are literally on a different plane from where you exist. So I guess that line makes sense, but it's also just, of course it's beyond that. Like, what I was capable of dreaming of when I got here, man? Stuff. Places. Everything external. Always. Everything. My dreams, my husband, it's all outside of me. It's always been outside of me. What about the interior condition of a partnership? I literally would have looked at you and just been like, what are you talking about, man? The what? That sounds like, what are you talking about? Is this a math equation? What the hell are you talking about, dude? I was like, inside of a triangle. Like, what? And again, that's why the beginning of this and, really taking an honest stab and moving through that amends process is just really, has been very, very crucial for me. I spent years, like I said, running around carrying a book, trying to help people, saying a bunch of stuff. And I guess if there was a part of me that was trying, man, obviously. But there was a lot of stuff I was unwilling to look at. You know, and I had a sponsor. I met this guy at 2013, not far from here, at the hotel right next to the airport, Liberty Bell Roundup. And I wanted another experience with a guy who'd really been through the book. You know, so I drove 5 hours to go spend a weekend with him, and he took me through the first 3 steps, and I left with inventory instructions. And he said, if you really write this inventory, man, I'll come down and I'll spend a weekend in Bel Air, where I was living at the time, and I'll get a hotel room, and I'll hear your first step, and we'll go up to step 8, and we'll start writing that list, and you know, we can move. And I did that, and he did that. You know, and I wrote a list, and then I wanted to do 10 steps. Yeah, I was like, scared. And I started bringing, and he was, you know, he did his best, and I started doing 10 steps with him, and he would say things to me, and this is, again, like, I just want to be really, really clear. I'm just going to be as honest as I can from my heart. And what I say, anything I say, I'm not trying to be offensive, and I hope no offensive language slips out or anything. I really do. For a long time, I was a very offensive human being. I was a harmful, inconsiderate, self-centered man in the rooms of AA for years. Not for like a blip, not for like, oh, that's real cute. Joe would just tap you on the head, like years. You know. And I started bringing this man some of my conduct, and he would say things to me like, Jack, you're using human beings. Like they're bottles of booze with legs. And I was just like, no, man, I'm just single and young, dude. And he was like, no, man, you're hurting people. And it does not take long for me to stop calling someone when they bring me that level of honesty. Like, it didn't take, you know, I was just like, all right, bro, you're in Connecticut, dog, like, peace. It's like really nice of you to be like, I'm glad you're so honest, brother. You know what I mean? But like, I'm 25, which is now kind of like, your parents already had your oldest brother, your mom was 25 when they had Chris, like, and you, anyway, my ideas, my life, me. So there's a whole part of this thing that is, and again, my experience up to now, whatever, I haven't been sober very, very long, you know, I got to have a mirror. I got to have somebody that's willing to hold it up. Then I got to be willing to shut up and listen. That's been really hard for me. That's been very, very hard. Because I'm driven. And I want what I want, and I want it when I want it. And it was really scary at first to really start getting truth reflected back to me. Because I just wasn't sponsorable. Like, that's just such a great word. And just such a great consideration and little thing to take into some quiet time. Like, am I really sponsorable? Not like, can I say it, or do I just say, yeah, immediately, of course I am. But like, how am I really? And like, for a long time, I didn't have any answer to that question, man. Because the truth was, no. I'll listen to what I want, and I don't to what I don't. That's not the deal here, man. I guess maybe it is for some. You might hear that somewhere. I don't know. That's certainly not the deal for this guy. I ended up in a lot of trouble. I wanted to stay in AA the first couple of years I was here, and I couldn't because I didn't have an experience in the steps. I went to 743 meetings in a row every day for over 2 years. You know? Day 744 wasn't no different than every other one. Like, but it was too much. The same thing happens to me here. It's like, I can't get in front of me in the next drink, and eventually I come to a place here where I can't get in front of me in my next thought. Where I really start to see that my mind has become a predator in my life. And it's got me, and there I go. Wherever it wants me, there I go. That thought, that emotion, that's what about, bang, bye. And if you're anything like me, first of all, God save, no, I'm just kidding. But if you're anything like that, if you have experience with that, you may end up with what I ended up with, which is an amends list in AA longer than before I got here. Because I couldn't get here. Neutrality? How do you practice love and tolerance when 90% of your life is still not cleaned up? Maybe you do. I don't. How do you treat women with integrity when you just got years and years of relationships left uncleaned up? What are you doing? I'm living a lie every day of my life. That's what I'm doing. Last night, sitting right here, Scott spoke, posed a question, and from that chair back there forced me to make an amends approach that I've been balking on for a couple weeks to recircle back to. Thank you, March through the steps. I'd have driven here just for that. Thank you. But why? Because I need to stay clear. Because power needs to continue to flow. So I end up at a place where I'm this maniac in AA for years, and then I end up going to the West Coast, and I go to Los Angeles, and I meet this beautiful girl, thank God. And I get involved in this weird work life that I've convinced everyone's whatever. Something that it's not. Okay. But it's just, healthcare fraud or patient brokering or, illegal reimbursements for lab specimens. I mean, you can say whatever you want, but, the FBI and the government refers to it as conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. So that's it's a safe box to put it in. That was on that's what we pled guilty to, if you know what I mean. But I'm glad we can, these are my people, man. You know what I'm saying? I end up in a place where that becomes my life. And I haven't put my book down. I haven't stopped going to conference here and there. I still know the guys and the words. But what am I doing? And I tell you, 10 and 11 hadn't been around in a long time. And so it looked like this time coming through this incredibly powerful amends process. Incredibly powerful. Kathy did an incredible job talking about it. It's so great to see you, and I love you so much. It's just wonderful to be in a room with you. There's been a time in my sobriety where I had to make amends to Kathy. I had to make graveside amends to Kathy's stepson that she talked about. I had to make amends to one of Kathy's roommates. It wasn't fun being in an AA community with me all the time. I'm not, so I just there's people here that can attest it from before and, I guess what I'm trying to point at and what it feels like in my own experience though is but until I really was willing to get honest with the truth of who and what I was, there wasn't a lot that was going to be pointed out to me about who I currently was being. So it's if I don't come through that, I don't know that there's a lot of power, clarity, or honesty to move into 10 and 11 with, is what my experience might look like to someone if they looked at it. It's kind of what it looks like to me, but we all know I can be way off. But that's what it looks like. Because it was and it wasn't like waking up and be like, these are areas of my life and I'm holding on to and I'm managing. I never thought that. I just got up and managed my life. I got up and drank a Bang and put a bunch of music on in a Cadillac and went to the gym in Los Angeles and thought I was living a spiritual life, man. What are you doing, bro? You're worshiping a God, that's for sure. That's for sure, man. But what God are you worshiping, buddy? And still today, right? Let's not make this all then. Especially now at 10 and 11. We are talking now in a lot of ways. One, where it's trying to keep me now. Bob D said it one time, right? He said, a place most alcoholics often never visit. Right now. I remember just being like, it just scared me. I was like, oh man, why do these guys sound so scary? It's true though. It's so hard. It's I'm always, it's going to be, it was, why does it feel like, It's just bro, where are you? I don't know, in my mind. I'm in my head, man. Thinking about some stuff. Sometimes it's kind of enjoyable. A lot of times it's really scary. Or I'm just But this clarity that it's not I moved into 10, 11 because I was scared of 9. Wow. It's I can clearly look at the man that I pray I never return to being. Really do. And then I can pray to never return to the guy that he used to pray to never be. And I wonder where we're going. And I'm grateful to be on the road. As some say, that really goes somewhere. Well, I believe like the rebirth ain't just happening one time. We're going in. And we're going for good. And we're going for life, hopefully. Because it seems to me like if I'm really being honest up here, 10 and 11, if I'm really staying current with somebody that's really staying current with somebody that has a relationship with the power that can see stuff I can't see and is willing to tell me the truth, so important. So important for a guy like me. Because, man, I can call you and I will try to sell you whatever I got going on. You need to be able to step completely outside of your relationship with me and tell me the truth with love. Who said that about this keeping the sword sharp so it doesn't hurt? I was just like, I literally just like jab step. I was like, it sounds familiar. You know, just like, but that's what a lot of times, like, I need somebody that's willing to do that. We'll go out on a limb and say that it feels like it's one of the keys to the way that our home feels. You know, it just can't be Cleo's fault. It doesn't work. Whether I'm violating the script or not, it doesn't work. Because I am definitely a script violator. There's no doubt about it. But there's two of us be violating scripts in this house. You know, but it's like, how do I stay? How am I staying married without this? I'm not. I don't think I am. How am I going to do that? I'm going to end up so sick. Like, I couldn't stay with Cleo when we were just dating. My conduct was so right. And if I don't have a mirror, what am I doing? And where's the power really flowing? You know, what? And where's it really flowing from? And where's it flowing to? I'm so obsessed with myself. I made a joke to somebody a second. I said, how many 10 steps am I going to have to do on a day when I got to talk about 10 and 11? Well, in here, 2 or 3. Afraid of what Teddy thinks. I shouldn't have said this at lunch. Cleo talking about what am I going to say? Oh, man. It's just like, how much can you think about yourself, man, when you're in a room full of people that you love? A lot. A lot. It's true. Like, you know, again, I want to stand up here and say, nah, let me tell you what I learned. Let me tell you what I'm reading. I'm going to tell you I'm going to name you the books I'm reading. For what? Why? From some real honest desire from my heart to be helpful? No. You know, that's never been the case for me. Because I can still be driven by the fear of what people think above all else. I'm currently pending sentencing for conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud. I'm facing 2 to 4 years in federal prison. I've been on federal pretrial release it'll be 4 years in June. I was arrested June 25th, 2019, the day before the anniversary of my best friend's death, Jack Christensen. God rest him and send some love to his mother, bearing the youngest son. And there has been a lot of fear about going to prison. Because it's prison. And I just cut my hair. But it's prison. I got all kinds of weird ideas. Oh, this and that, and what's going to happen. And, you know, this is going to be 4 years later. You know what I mean? It's just like, how many hours have been squandered? You know? Thinking about God knows what. And the money we're going to have to pay back. You know? And this partner of mine just being like, you know, what are you worried about? You know, it's just like, I've heard you say you're scared before, you know, like I know you're scared, but there's been so much, and like I can't sit somewhere and just be like, okay, God, just remind me about how fortunate I am and how you saved my life and how everything's great and how you moved us all the way across the country through the FBI and we ended up starting a home group and creating a fellowship and ended up in a men's retreat and ended up in a life that you never even ever even would have chosen. Like, just help me remember that. I can't do that. I need to ask and I need to turn and I need to talk to someone else and I need someone to tell me the truth because often I just can't see it. A couple weeks ago, I get this message from my lawyer. I haven't talked to the feds in like 2 years. They haven't wanted anything from me, and and all of a sudden, hey, the prosecutor changed, and they got some questions. I'm just, what? I'm gonna be in, okay, but like, what? And I pray, and I get on the phone, and I'm talking to my sponsor, and he's just like, tell me what you're actually afraid of. Tell me what you're actually afraid of, man. What is there actually to be afraid of? And he gets real direct like that. And I just went silent. What the guy who might end up getting arrested is going to think of me. How petty. But that's the truth. Not that my wife's going to be without a husband and I'm going to have to pay back X amount of money. Still waiting to hear one of these speakers get up and say that number, but I ain't heard it yet. Just waiting. No. I don't know if someone's going to go that high. Scared about that? No. What's going to happen in jail? Nope. It's just like, man. This blood-sucking beast of validation. This alcoholism, the separator, And I just, I can't see it. And I have to be active. And I have to be current. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. I used to like to drink grain alcohol and go to this place called Towson Commons in Baltimore, where it was like a movie theater and all. It was like when I was like freshman, sophomore in high school, and where kids used to just go and hang out in movie theaters because they were trying to get dropped off by their parents and then go to the nearest graveyard and drink 40s or whatever. I don't know if you did that. We did that. Rather good at it. I kind of peaked like 8th, 9th grade personally. I don't know about you guys, but I just went, wham! Didn't do too much after that, I hadn't even hit puberty. I peaked drinking. Something's wrong. You might be an alcoholic if. But anyway, so I used to drink grain alcohol and go argue with the religious people that would come there and try to carry a message. That's what, for sport. What a sad existence. What a lonely little guy. I'm so right. I got spit coming out of her. How can you tell me? And why did they do this then? And they're probably just like, you need Jesus, baby. Yeah. So I think we're actually here to talk to you, Jack. You might not know it, but we probably gonna meet you one day, bud. And they were just listening, and what happens in AA is a guy like that comes here and eventually gets exactly what the book says, beaten into a state of reasonableness. I got beaten into one by alcohol. I got beaten into a state of reasonableness by alcoholism to actually do what was necessary to start living a spiritual life. Just me. 5-6 years sober, running around LA, completely lunatic. Back through the steps. But 2 weekends ago, I went to a monastery in Kentucky because I really, really, really wanted to. And I just watched monks live in a way that maybe one day I might get a fraction of a percentage of close to, just in love with the power that they know has done the miraculous. My mind was taken from that closed to that open by hanging out with you guys. And then doing what one of you laid out pretty specifically, to be frank. That's incredible. And again, it's like, it's hard. It's like saying the talk you give at the rehab, right? This isn't the talk you give. We're talking about living a spiritual life. We're talking about something that makes no sense when I get here. But somehow, through experience, it seems like it's starting to make more sense than anything else. That's insane. How's God make more sense than money? How's God make more sense than money? How does integrity partnership make more sense than whatever you want, whenever you want? How does real freedom and whatever it takes to maintain that actually, not through words, start to seem like it's rising priorities in your life? Through trying to seek, I guess. Through doing what you people tell me, I guess. Through the grace of a loving living, I guess. Yeah, through all that, through every side of the triangle, through all of it together in some weird circle, I don't know, man. Not like, ding da dong, ba ding da ding, and this is how you connect it, and then that's how we do it. I don't. The spiritual life is not a theory, though. The spiritual life is not a theory. And I'm the guy that, just recently, 2 months ago again, finally started doing nightly reviews. Because I'm just like, man, and again, right, wrong, or indifferent, everybody's got their own opinion. I don't know, if I'm doing something and it's starting to become rote and I'm editing it in and it's going to people and I'm worried about what it's saying and stuff, I just stopped. I'm just going to thank God when I go to bed and try to live with God all day. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Not to me. We do a nightly review or not. Rock and roll, man. This is an individual journey. This is an individual experience. This is an individual relationship with your God, nobody else's. It ain't the big book's God either. It's yours, in your heart, in your time, your way. Yes, our steps are laid out clearly, but we're getting up into some territory up here where it's like, let's do some exploring, yo. We don't need to be so scared. It's okay. Let's go. Let's go to India. Let's go to Silent Satsang for 5 weeks in India. Let's go hike sacred mountains and sit in caves where people spent 14 years in silence. Let's go. These are the same shoes I wore there. I just thought about that right now. I love these shoes. Let's go bathe in the Ganga River. Let's go to the monastery. Let's try to see where people are right. They don't need a title. Let's try and see where people that have purpose are right. Whether they belong to some sect or denomination, let's just try and see. And let's see why other people are happy. Our arrogant monopolizing selves up in here. Me. Now I know. Maybe. I don't know, man. I want to grow. I want to grow in love and tolerance. I want to be able to sit next to someone that disagrees with everything that I think and be totally fine with them as a human, because beliefs are just beliefs. I want more unity, man. On the whole. I'm not talking about just, my old big book home group. Unity, period. I'll be more unified with the world. But I know, where does that start? That starts with power. That starts with unification with the power that can actually produce that. Because we got to go be that. Nicoletta's we get to go be that. That's what we're doing now. But how do I stay there? How do I continue to grow there? How do I continue to seek to improve a relationship that, man, if you do 1 through 9, you better believe you started developing. That's for sure. You ain't amazing, scary men, so you be trusting God whether you think so or not. I don't care if I believe. Watch this. Hello, can I talk to you? I didn't mean to, but I know it was wrong. I was wrong. I'm not sorry. I was wrong. Wrong. Don't say sorry. Don't say sorry. Because we're really getting to live life now. But at the same time, it's and I got to live life now. which is really cool, but also there I am, rolling up in my life, da-da-ding, just barreling in the door after work. Just like, come on, Mouse, come on, like wondering why Cleo or whoever I'm running, is it, it's just like you start to see yourself in your own life too. And it's not a curse, not like it's a gift and a curse, but it kind of feels that way because, a lot of times I don't want to look at it. I don't want to see again how selfish my thought life is, man. How I got thoughts about stuff I don't want to have. Right? How Cleo and I have ended up in times with our intimate life where it's not where we want it. But that we can bring that so honestly that we can both stand in front of people we don't know and talk about it. How about that? How's that possible? How do you do that? How do you exist with the absence of fear like that? Yeah, there's one answer for us. It's capital P power. There's one answer, it's capital P power. It's it. And because there's only one way, and it's the road through. And what a gift. What a gift. But to know that the reality of our life and the reality of the sacredness and the space in a home that can be created with actual love is unreal. Just words that I've heard my whole life getting redefined in the life that I'm currently living. Home, love, life. These things that I heard, that I saw, that I thought I had, that are just getting redefined. Just walking into play and just being like, this is where I live. This is that feels like. What? And not every second of every day. The whole purpose is, the whole reason that the 10 step was written, at least in the big book, the way that it was, is about these things are cropping up. These things aren't good things are cropping up. You know what I mean? It doesn't label like, this is joy and freedom's going to crop up, and resentment and dishonesty. It's like, no, but as a result of that, you get to actually be present for where you are, finally. One of the biggest gifts that can be given to any human being. Even if it's just a momentary freedom from the noise in the mind to actually be where the feet and the heart are. Man, I don't come here for that. Man, that sounds like LSD when I get here. Right? Still kind of sounds like LSD. I always loved LSD, just for the record. I did. Why not? Yeah, it's just hard to, there's not enough words and there's not the right words. So you just try and throw some words at it. It's like you're talking about a power that's reached into every single one of the hearts in this room and brought them at least here right now. And that is alone, you just sit with that for a second. Like you think about where you were. Before the first honest prayer, the first time you sat with your first sponsor, the first time you heard a real message of depth and weight, grab you by your heart, like where you were and what your life was like before that. And if you're there right now, know that there are so many people right here right now that just want to give you a hug and show you what to do. And do it with you. They don't want to yell at you. Hey, some of them do, that's all right. There's other people too. You don't have to get yelled at to go through the steps. You don't have to get yelled at to do 10 steps. And the infinite power of love, I don't see it doing too much yelling. And the quiet, still place that can be found, the peace that is available. And again, I'm not a guy that lives there. I'm a little bit on the louder, eccentric, side of life. Talky, squawky, thinky, doey, hey, help me. You know what I mean? But amidst that, there's a place that, even if it's just in between actions throughout the day, just 5 seconds of just acknowledging the presence of that still, quiet, powerful place within, and just going to the next thing can change the course of life. Man, thank you guys so much for asking me to talk about this. It's incredible what this power has done and how gracious the people in Alcoholics Anonymous have been to me since I got here. An alcoholic with untreated alcoholism, murdered by an Alcoholics Anonymous, is an unlovely creature at times, and I've been nothing but loved. And that's a testament to man. I got arrested June 2019, and 2 days later, we had to go to where the case is based out of, which is Newark, New Jersey. From Baltimore, where I got arrested, we were living in Los Angeles at the beginning of that day. Been living in Baltimore ever since. Thank you, God. From the bottom of everything that is real within me. Thank you, God, for moving our life to right where you wanted it. We have to go to Newark. And we're walking in this courthouse, and it's like 8 or 10. They seem giant to me. Who knows? It was probably 2 or 3 stairs going up to this big door. I was walking into what are these people about to say? Are they about to say I can go back? Are they about to say I'm not? Am I about to stay here? Am I about to go to jail? I walked away from this years ago. I've been trying to make it God, what's going on? And all I knew was Jack, you're done making decisions. And our lawyer told us you're going to have to decide whether you want to go back to Los Angeles and live there or you want to live in Maryland. And I stopped and I looked at my wife. She's not from here. She's from California. And I said, honey, I know this is a lot or whatever, but I need you to make this call. I don't know where we're supposed to live. I brought us to the steps of the courthouse and we ain't getting married. This, I don't know. Middle of broad daylight, lawyer walking up, people waiting for us, all kinds of stuff going on. This woman stops dead in her tracks, 3 steps up the federal courthouse and just stops. We need to live in Maryland. I said, okay. And that was that. The hunch and the inspiration, the pause. And it's not always going to be, often it's not about stuff like that. But that's a pause. That's a moment in time, what has happened from that day until this one. God's happy. God's happy and you know it. You know it. You know you did the right thing. You know that was the right answer. So clear as day. Her grandmother was 99 when she passed away just a few months ago. And, for the last few years, we were able to go up there every 4, 6, or 7 weeks and play Scrabble with her. For the end of her life. It's I got to be on the goodbye tour for Gami, man. I'm a guy that didn't want to meet families. I didn't want to go to Northern California and meet her mom and dad because I know what that means. That means I'm too scared to show up because I know I can't. Dad needed open heart surgery. We were there. My aunt was going to end up having multiple surgeries. We had to move in with her for a couple weeks and just stay with her. She's now since developed Parkinson's and, and we're having dinner with her Monday. And we had, my mom has now since had 2 small strokes. And we had dinner with them Wednesday. And they're watching our little dog right now. And it's just this is not the life I would have chosen. The pandemic shuts the world down. And all of a sudden some intuition comes about trying to look at the book with a couple guys. And then we ask one of our friends, Chris, to come get on it. And some woman hops on. So then it becomes an open meeting that night. It was the 3rd day of it. And before you know it, 5 nights a week for a year, there's 50 people on Zoom and a whole bunch of us are still super connected. And from that, this in-person group starts in Baltimore. And now there's a whole bunch of home group members. And we got service positions. And we got people falling in love with the big book and with God and with each other. And people relapsing and staying and everything. And it's incredible. But if we don't pause throughout that, I don't know what that path looks like. If we don't pause before saying, yeah, let's do it, I don't know. Because I can just be so driven and I'm so quick. So yes, the time in the morning is crucial, and what you're doing in the evening is crucial. Throughout the day is great, but I'm not here to get trapped either, though, man. I want to keep growing with an infinite power in infinite ways. I want to stay open. I want to know all of you. I want unity everywhere. I don't want to settle for anything except for more God, more love, more peace, and more of you. That's it. And I'm not arrogant enough, not in this moment, at this right here anyway, to think I know exactly how to do that. For you, me, or anyone else. My experience is mine. I'm happy to share it with anybody, obviously. And we don't apologize for our Creator. Why would I apologize for what God's done for me? That's insane. Why would I do that? Look. Are you kidding me? I should be in prison right now. My wife is the one that first said this, but that been facing jail time, living in the city we said we were never going to live in a couple weeks before I got arrested. It's been the best 3.5 years of our life. Who does that? How do you answer the riddles around here? When you really look back at your life and look at it now, what? It was the right person, you met the right one. You know, was it really just this, that, or that inventory, or this one? Or isn't there this magical, mysterious power flowing through all of it? Isn't there something that you can't really fully grasp, but it just goes like, you know, isn't there something that makes you just sometimes just want to cry? Because you get so full, and sometimes you get so scared, but there's something to lean towards. Isn't that really where I'm trying to go and where I'm trying to stay? And thank God for the first 9 to get me in touch with it. Crucial. And to finally face the fear. Because I can make 1 through 8 all about me. Real hard to make 9 about me. I'm not talking about motives. I never thought that the majority of the conversations I would have with the man that took me through the steps would be about my thought life. But that has finally started to happen. And that has created a different way to start living, which is really incredible. And anybody in here that's helping anybody in any way, that's doing anything to touch anybody's heart anywhere, thank you. For real. I had nowhere to go. And you all gave me this life. That's insane. Now, I'm not the guy that's always great. I'm not the guy that's always happy. I'm not the guy that's always... I'm very well acquainted with Step 10 because I'm incredibly obsessed with myself. But there is something that has started to grow underneath of all the thoughts and the noise and the talking that seems to be strengthening and being more peaceful and has started to move our actual life. Like the inward reality that's deep down within is finally starting to demonstrate outward. Here and there. It's awesome. It's a hell of a ride, man. And it's just like, I had nothing. And today I need nothing. I have everything and so much more. It's hard to put the right words to it. But I definitely tried. And it's just wonderful to just be here with you guys. And to just have been able to try to talk about, you know, really what you guys have done for me. And let's just try to keep walking with each other. And let's try to keep that unifying heartbeat of love between us, no matter how we sound or what we say, or what page we're talking about or book we're talking about, but just that we're together and we're here. I'm going to be quiet. Thanks for letting me share.